June 8, 2025. Los Angeles is tense. The National Guard is being deployed not for training but to respond to days of escalating civil unrest. The trigger? Massive protests sparked by recent immigration raids that have shaken the city. While some residents hope the Guard will restore order, many, especially in immigrant communities, fear intimidation and a loss of civil liberties. The sight of military vehicles on city streets is a stark reminder of past crises, like the 1992 riots. This deployment marks a turning point, raising urgent questions about the right to protest and the government's response to dissent. As the first units arrive, the city holds its breath, uncertain about what the next days will bring. For some, the Guard's presence is reassurance. For others, it's a chilling escalation. The stakes are high, and the future of Los Angeles hangs in the balance. The city's diverse communities are watching, waiting, and wondering what comes next. The atmosphere is charged. Every street corner feels like a crossroads. The world is watching Los Angeles, and the city's next move could set a precedent for the nation. The story is just beginning. Earlier this week, federal immigration agents launched coordinated raids across Los Angeles, targeting homes and workplaces in the early morning. Families were caught off guard, doors broken down, parents taken in front of their children. Officials claimed they were targeting those with criminal records, but many detained had no such history. The raids sent shockwaves through immigrant neighborhoods, leaving streets empty and families terrified. Community hotlines were overwhelmed with calls from people desperate for news about loved ones. Churches and community centers became sanctuaries, offering legal help and support. The sense of being under siege quickly turned fear into anger. For many, the raids felt like an attack on their families and way of life. Silence was no longer an option. People chose to stand up and protest. The protests are not just about policy, they're about survival and dignity. The raids fractured communities, but also united them in resistance. This is why the streets of Los Angeles are now filled with voices demanding change. What began as small vigils quickly grew into massive marches, fueled by social media and a shared sense of outrage. Protesters from all backgrounds, immigrants, students, teachers, faith leaders, have joined together. Their message is clear: end the raids, protect families, and demand compassion. Speakers share stories of neighbors and friends torn from their lives, highlighting the human cost. The protests remain peaceful, with organizers working hard to keep them safe and focused. Major streets are shut down, disrupting daily life, a deliberate strategy to force the city and nation to listen. The announcement of the National Guard's deployment has only strengthened the protesters' resolve. Instead of backing down, they're planning even larger demonstrations. For many, this is a defining moment, a fight for civil liberties and human rights. The movement is growing, and the world is taking notice. The city's response will shape the future of protest in America. The decision to deploy the National Guard followed days of tense debate among city, state, and federal officials. The governor authorized the move, citing the need to maintain order as protests swelled. City leaders are divided. Some support the deployment, others warn it will escalate tensions and erode trust. Officials insist the Guard is there to support peaceful protest, not suppress it. Critics, including civil rights groups, see it as intimidation and a threat to free expression. There's been little violence, but the government fears unrest could spiral. The Guard's presence is now a flashpoint, fueling debate about the balance between security and civil liberties. Activists argue the move is political, meant to stifle dissent. The city is now at a crossroads, with the Guard's arrival adding a new layer of conflict. The next steps will determine whether tensions ease or explode. The National Guard's arrival transforms Los Angeles overnight. Troops and military vehicles now line key streets, especially near government buildings and protest sites. Their missions support local police, secure infrastructure, and deter unrest. For many residents, the sight is unsettling, a stark reminder that the city is in crisis. Protesters now face not just police but soldiers, raising the stakes for every demonstration. Organizers must work even harder to keep protests peaceful and focused. The relationship between the Guard and LAPD is crucial. Missteps could escalate tensions. The Guard's strict rules of engagement are meant to prevent violence, but their presence alone is intimidating. The city's response will be closely watched, both locally and nationally. How authorities and protesters interact in the coming days will shape the city's future. The challenge: maintain order without silencing dissent. All eyes are on Los Angeles. As night falls, Los Angeles is on edge, caught between hope and fear. Protesters are determined, authorities resolute, and families directly impacted by the raids are anxious for loved ones. Community leaders urge calm and dialogue, warning that force alone cannot resolve deep divisions. The Guard's presence is seen by many as a provocation, risking the very confrontations officials hope to avoid. The city stands at a crossroads. Will it find a path to peaceful resolution, or spiral into further conflict? For those affected, the protests are a lifeline, a sign they are not alone. But the risk of escalation is real, and the outcome uncertain. The next days will define Los Angeles for years to come. The world is watching, hoping for peace but bracing for unrest. The city's resilience will be tested as never before. The story of Los Angeles is still being written.